I was actually planning to come before I knew it was closed down and do some motivational speaking and presentations to the kids.
Awesome.
On the request of some of the staff members. And it was going to be a great opportunity to catch up with them and really invest in the kids and get to know them and act, and be realistic with them and how they can be successful. And before that was able to occur, they obviously were removed from the ranch, and so I still came to lend my support and really, give my perspective and my testify to my experience from the ranch and how I gained from it.
And you're of a positive memory that the ranch benefited you in your growing up, your processes, and helped to inspire you, gave you some character traits or hope and security, things like that. Is that true?
I think it gave me those, but it also gave me things that I could practically use in the world. So it taught me a work ethic. It taught me useful skills. Like, for example, I've gone over this with Bill, the director, multiple times. I specifically with him learned how to sheetrock, how to mud, how to do framing, how to prepare for concrete. We actually worked on concreting. Then from other members, I worked on training horses. I worked on milking cows and tending to stock in general, chickens, ducks, whatever. And I learned how to, I actually I learned through the process of butchering the chickens and, having to clean them, and then the meat was preserved and, frozen, and I learned how the ranch provided for, we literally provided for ourselves through that process. Then I worked with other members who had businesses in town, and I learned, public interaction with his customers. I learned financing. I learned organization through him, and all this while I was losing vision and for the most part blind, and these people still allowed me to do this. And I've been able to take all these things and take them into the real world and pursue opportunities, both that, I've trained horses in my personal life, I've competed with horses in my personal life, and I've marketed horses, and I've worked for my university. I went through law school, and I've worked, I'm trying to think what else. I've worked on cars from the skills I've learned, and people can't believe that, a blind guy who doesn't even drive consistently, I've driven for fun because friends let me, but I can explain to a lot of people the workings of a car. And so I've worked on roofing jobs. I've worked on framing. I've worked on carpentry, and a lot of that comes from the Ranch for Kids.
That is absolutely encouraging to hear. As you know, there are, in certain state-sponsored circles, there are some opposite appraisals of the value or the lack of values in the school, and yet we know people that have benefited, and we know the staff is morally high-level, responsible and considerate, caring, loving people, and they're trying to help kids that need help.
I think they've proven that over and over again, and I think that's honestly, that's my biggest frustration is you haven't been through the program and you understand it. And the thing is, you read the articles and none of them have any of the positive, not just about the work ethic and the things you learn, but the actual genuine connections that we make. We got taken to Sophie Lake. We'd go have dinner with, the families of the staff members. What else would we do? In the evenings, one of the projects we worked on was to concrete a basketball court where kids and staff would play basketball. We had bicycles that we would ride. I literally would have staff members who I wanted to hang out with in the evening, and we'd go ride horses, through in the mountains. So, and none of the articles address that.
There is a state-sponsored narrative afoot in the media, and that narrative seems to be unjustly overly scrutinizing the value of private sector assistance in the community. The ability of normal human beings who are upright, responsible, decent human beings with love in their hearts who want to help are now being subjected to an unreasonable level of state observation, or let's call it even surveillance. But the state is starting to regard community projects like this from the private sector as a threat to the authoritarianism of their own education system and the CFR-controlled media presentations. And so they actually are willing to use the force of law to shut down a wonderful school that is lovingly trying to help kids that need the help and who are responding positively, like you. You're a wonderful example. You've gone on to law school, you've got plans for your life, for the future. You have your dreams and your hopes and your pleasures, and you love horses, but you've made something of yourself, and you can see that your time and experience and that you learned at Ranch for Kids, and that you shared there with the staff and your friends and peers, that was beneficial. So I can't thank you enough for wanting to voice your personal experience as a licensed, viable attorney who is a very open-minded gentleman. This is valuable for the public to hear.
I think it has to be said because no one, there are parents who disagree with what the media is putting out, but no one's had the chance to, gather their thoughts and put it out there, the positives. And, a lot of these kids, there are lots of kids out there who have graduated from the program who, guess where they learned to drive? At the Ranch for Kids, because that was another thing that they taught in a safe environment where there was space, So these people really went out on the limb, and they did it because they cared. And the thing that's not talked about, these kids are seen as helpless, poor children, innocent children. And the thing is, yes, they're children, but they're not helpless, and they're on in the ranch program for a reason, and that reason is because they've struggled in their home environments, and they haven't struggled in the normal ways that these parents have tried, and the options that they come down to are, do we send our kids to juvenile programs, or there's been instances where a mother got overwhelmed enough, and for whatever reason thought that it was okay to send her Russian son back to Russia on a plane alone with a no safety pin to his shirt. And to me, it's like, we want to, the media and the government right now want to villainize the Ranch for Kids. But let's be honest, do we, the kid who was sent to Russia, he was accused of arson and things like that. And, but still, is it better to send him back to Russia alone and where he had no advocacy? Or would it be better to give him a chance at the ranch where he can, have a chance at thriving and maintaining some semblance of a positive life in the U.S. and being a productive member of society or a competitive member of society, depending on their goals. And the thing is, when you're teaching and raising someone, there are, it's not always going to be positive. When you mess up and someone points that out to you, that's not always, as a kid especially, it's not easy to hear that. So to me, the fact that the government and the media is taking these kids and basically saying, oh, you poor you, especially kids who have been taken out of families because the families couldn't handle their behavior, and saying, oh, you poor whatever, and saying that you were abused and this and that. These kids know what real abuse is because, the ones who were adopted at an older age like I was from an orphanage, we faced real abuse over there. We got, scolded in hot showers. People's heads got stuffed in toilets or mop buckets. And I don't talk about it much because, people here really couldn't handle what real abuse is. And when the staff members are using programs that have been tried and certified, and the staff members are certified not only as capable in these methods, but also certified as instructors in these methods, and that's what they're using, and the government hasn't verified any of the abuse before they act on removing the children. It's just insane to me.
Thank you.
They're not getting the whole story.
Okay.